Hello, and welcome to another installment of There You Go with Brian. This is kind of a special edition. Recently, I dropped the new video about Hearst Castle, and we had so much information left over, I thought maybe some folks might enjoy it, so here goes. As we enter the driveway going all the way up to Hearst Castle, it gives you lots of time to think about how impressive this property is. Built in 1919, they have about 100 of those lamps, by the way, around the property. They just got through bringing a company in. It took them 2 years to rewire all the lamps. Look at that view. Oh, yes. By the way, all of those columns over there are 1,800 years old. We're going to go over there in a second. But this is the first house you see as you enter the property. It's not the big house. We're going to that one in a bit. There are the 1,800-year-old columns. Look at that pool. It's the Neptune pool. Oh, yes. And by the way, this pool, they built it and then tore it apart, built it, tore it apart, and then built it again 3 times because they kept needing a bigger pool for all the guests who were coming. Back in 1919, they didn't have any air conditioning, so if you were outside, it was July or August, you might step underneath this little awning here to get some shade and maybe have an iced tea. Oh, yes. It's beautiful. Now, we're going to leave the pool behind us here just to give you a little bit of proximity of where you're at. That's the pool in front of us. We're going to turn around when you start seeing the roses. Then we enter the garden heading up towards the big house, otherwise known as Casa Grande. Here we go. We're walking away and going through the garden here. There's lots of art throughout this garden. As you probably know from the other video, William Randolph Hearst was an avid collector. He would go all over the world purchasing art and artifacts that he loved. And if he couldn't go, he had people around the world who would purchase for him. I should mention, too, that there are 800 varieties of roses on the property. William Randolph Hearst particularly loved roses. But I should also mention, too, that as I came onto the property, I was hit with the overwhelming smell of jasmine. Never smelled so much jasmine in my life. One of the main statues here, we'll call this one Lady on Horse. That is an Egyptian sarcophagus. When they would play hide and seek on the property, Chaplin would hide in there. Oh, here we go. So now we've made our way up to Casa Grande. This is the Hearst Castle. He spent a lot of time when he was a child in Spain, and obviously the churches and castles in Spain made a big impression on him, and he wanted to have the architect Julia Morgan model his home after those buildings. So we're going to enter the side entrance here because the main, back on the path, Brian. There you go. Don't go upstairs till you're invited. Yeah, we're going to enter on the side here because there's a mosaic in the front that's been worn out from people walking in and they're remodeling it. So this is the great room. This is the room if you were lucky enough to be invited to Hearst Castle for the weekend. You would come into this room and be welcomed most likely by Marion Davies. She was his girlfriend and the lady of the house. She would offer you a cool drink, or if it were cold outside, possibly you would warm yourself by the fire and have a hot toddy. When they installed electricity in this building, it was still rather new, and it was considered to be state-of-the-art to have those light bulbs up there. He purchased a lot of furniture and things like that from churches. He really liked the decor of churches in Europe. All of these tapestries in this room are 400 to 500 years old. And I should mention there are 41 fireplaces. So he didn't want you to get a chill when you were visiting Hearst Castle. Yes, this is an example of one of the parties that they would have. Clark Gable on the left, next to the love of his life, Carol Lombard, and then on the right is William, right there. Now we've made our way into the dining room, or what they would refer to as the refectory. And those flags up there towards the ceiling represent all the different countries that Hearst had traveled to. It seated approximately 30 people. Yeah, more tapestries. And after you finished dinner, you could come into the tea room here, have a cup of tea, cup of coffee while you were waiting for the evening's movie to start. Maybe right next to the tea room is a billiards room. You might go in there and play some pool or snooker. They also have on the left there's a Philco radio. You could turn that on and listen to the news of the day. That's where we're going, through that door, back to the cinema, right there. It's all done up in red velvet and gold leaf. It's a 14-karat gold leaf. It cost approximately $1 million back then to build this room alone. And they still play movies from time to time for special events. Now we've made it up to the library. He collected books as well as he traveled the world, and there are books in here from every subject matter you could imagine. This room had a really nice vibe, very peaceful, very a room you could spend a lot of time in. Right next to the library is, this is kind of the nerve center. This is William Randolph Hearst's office. He ran all of his companies from here, and you notice all the hand-carved wood and the wood paneling. Rumor has it that he had rifles behind the wood paneling, although they haven't found them yet. But they were there, they said, for security in case someone tried to break in. They have a large staff of maintenance people. This gentleman's working on taking care of some of the woodwork up there. Oh, the bedrooms. Yes. How many bedrooms they have here, Brian? Yeah, they have 58 bedrooms. Isn't that something? So when you came, if they didn't have a full house, you'd have your selection of bedrooms. You'd get a valet. He would lay your clothes out for you, bring your bag up, lay everything out in the bathroom for you. And if you needed anything, you let your valet know, and he will run downstairs to the pantry and bring it right up to you. By the way, there's 61 bathrooms in the castle as well, so no waiting. Which room do you like? I think my favorite is coming up right here, I believe. Yes, it's the loft bedroom. See that loft up at the top? And downstairs you have the bathroom. You'd brush your teeth, wash your face, scamper up the stairs, and you'd reach the sleeping quarters. It's really almost like a little apartment. I think it might be difficult to get me out of this bedroom once I was in it, unless you were going to elevate me to the bell tower suite. This is one of the prettiest rooms in the castle. It's at the very top of the tower, all hand-carved, hand-painted. Has kind of a little bit of a Middle Eastern vibe, I think, with those screens on the windows. But you better not mind the chiming of bells, because directly above your bed is the bell tower. But you get an incredible view out of this room towards the Pacific. This is one of the other bedrooms here with the beautiful tapestry on the wall, the gold curtains. And if you needed a midnight snack, they had a kitchen that was open 24 hours a day. They baked their own bread, roasted chickens, baked cookies and cakes and pies. Whatever you need, they got it. Although they would have to send out for cheese. They didn't make their own cheese on the property. Hey, it's the swimming pool. Yeah. This is the indoor pool. If it was too cold to go outside, then you've got the Roman pool inside. Look at this. Gold and blue. All the beautiful tile work. And of course, the architect Julia Morgan, who was one of the first female architects in America, said that when she was building this property, the overriding belief was it's all about the views. Well, I think that's pretty much going to cover it. God, this tour of the property went really quick. And thank you, Bill, and thank you, Marion, for having us. You have a beautiful home. Well, that's going to do it for me here in San Simeon, California. I am actually on William Randolph Hearst Beach, across the street from Hearst Castle. They have 8 different tours that you can take every day. Come on out. I'm sure you'll find one that you'll like. I know we'll be back, and I hope you will too, on There You Go with Brian. Bye-bye. Something old, something new, something for me, something for you. It's a big, big world. Let's check it out.